Morning, everybody. Did you miss me for one day? Maybe, maybe not. Only a little bit. But how are we doing? Sam here, United People's TV. It is the 7th of June. It's a Friday. It's sunny outside. I don't want to be here now. I'm joking. I want to be here. But we're here to talk about, funnily enough, Erik Ten Hag. And I'm not coming here with inside knowledge or in the know or sources, HP and ketchup and all that. I'm just saying I'm expecting there to be an Erik Ten Hag announcement today. It's been 13 days now since the FA Cup final. We've been waiting. I wouldn't say patiently as a fan base, but we've been waiting for an announcement, and I would expect something to come today. So we're just going to have an honest conversation about what I expect to happen and maybe what the fallout can or will be. And I'll ask your opinions in the comments. I'll try and answer as many questions as I can throughout the show, as always. And it's Friday, so we're whipping out the map today, whipping it out. And also,
good morning. Hello.
Even if Casemiro leaves, that soundbite is staying here for years and years and years. But good morning to everybody who's here from the Mod Gang and the Member Gang. Let's have a quick look. Mod Gang, good morning to all of you. Carl, you're there. Gungshi, I can see you there. Oh, man, Gungshi, kicking off the show with a scorcher. Josh, you're there as well, and I can see you too. But 10 gifted memberships. I wonder what Gary Neville thinks about that. I'll be totally honest. Should we ask what Gary thinks? Yeah, I think we should. Alex, see you there too.
Oh, Sin!
Start off with a good laugh, right? Because I think the conversation is going to change a little bit as we get into this show. Movies View, good morning to you. Lebo, Anthony, Chris, Walter, Son of Fire. Andy Franks, need like a voiceover. I need like a voice chat. I've got a voice mod. I just haven't set it up yet. I thought people might not like the gimmicks. I think I might. Ashley, good morning to you. Teresa, Saeed, Rex, Connor, and there's plenty more. And on Facebook, let's have a quick look too. We've got Nathan, Tim. Good morning to both of you. Ian Cartwright. We've got Kefas, Isaacs, and Terry. Good morning to all of you. And Mania, thank you very much down there for gifting 5 memberships. Vicky, I can see you there too. Mods all over the shop. And I tell you what.
I can't believe it. Football, bloody hell.
Football, bloody hell. United, bloody hell. But today's going to be an interesting show. No doubt, right? Now, what I like to do at the start of shows is run through news that's happened around just Manchester United and in football, right? And it's this. First things first. I think unsurprisingly, right? Let's be honest. Unsurprisingly, Premier League teams have voted to keep VAR. I don't think that's a surprise to anyone. Let's be honest. I'm frustrated. I think the core of my frustration with VAR ultimately was, I don't know what tournament it was. I've said this quite a few times. I think it was a World Cup where I saw like semi-automated offsides in, and it was like a flawless system. And I was like, that works so perfectly. That speeds things up. That takes it away from the refs. Yeah, good. That's what VAR is. Bring it in. And then it just is. It's ended up being, instead of being the ref on the pitch, it's been some bloke up there. And instead of making it more accurate, you just diverted responsibility away from the ref on the pitch to this person in front of a screen. And it's become weird and crap. Wolves, I think, were the only team who voted against it. I think so. But it's no surprise, but just get better. I think next season, automated offsides are already in. Am I right on that? I think I'm right on that. So that's one step in the right direction. But let's see. Now, another vote that happened. And again, this will probably come as no surprise, but frustrating. So, the Premier League tried to get a loophole closed where clubs could sell hotels, training grounds, and other assets into their own groups. So, for example, Chelsea, with a huge PSR deficit, decided to sell 2 of their hotels that were owned by Chelsea Football Club to another company that was owned by, was it Clear Lake Capital? Clearwater? Sod knows. Todd Bowley's companies. Anyway, it was a sister company of Chelsea. So they found a way to circumnavigate, to basically take funds from one area and put it in another area of the business. It's a loophole. The exact same way that Chelsea used the loophole of signing players on 8-year contracts and amortizing their cost over a long period of time. It's a loophole. That's been closed. This loophole hasn't been closed. And we spoke about it. Was it Wednesday? I think we did it. Was it Thursday? No, I wasn't here Thursday. Wednesday, we did the show around about City and everything that's going on there. And honestly, it's like make or break for the Premier League. If City win that, I won't ever be done with football. But if City win that, it's just going to get worse and worse and worse, right? And you're saying, not sure I've got a huge issue with that. An asset is an asset. This is cooking the books, dude. This is absolutely cooking the books. Let me just take an asset here and sell it to a company over there so that the asset doesn't really move, but I can now, because of that, add 75 million into my profit and loss sheet. That's cooking the books. And that shouldn't be able to happen. You shouldn't be able to do that. It's like shifting and selling things without actually selling things. But on the books, it looks like you're selling things. Vicky is saying, do you think City is starting the Super League? If City lose, I absolutely think they're going to be going down that route again. And they're just going to ignore the fact that the Premier League has put rules against clubs for doing that. But man, let's see what happens to that. As far as I know, the arbitration for that starts on Monday, and it lasts 2 weeks. So it's going to be quite a quick decision before we actually find out what goes on there. And yeah, if the Premier League loses that, I don't know what happens next. But it is bad news. Flav, big up Flav. I think he said that football will be in an existential crisis, or currently is. And I think that's kind of what it would be like. There will be a massive shift in... You may as well move the Premier League headquarters into the Etihad. Right? That's what would happen. But look, let's get into the main part of the show. And I think the conversation that everybody wants to get involved in today. Or maybe not, actually. You might just be bored of talking about it. And I've tried my hardest not to fuel... Is it speculation? Is it? I suppose it's speculation. It's the reason that we all get... Not the only reason, but a big reason why we all get so angry, and I said this before, about delays over Erik Ten Hag. Now, truth be told, I think Ineos are 1 week late with this decision. 1 week. We won the FA Cup 13 days ago, okay? And had they taken a week to decide what goes on with Erik Ten Hag after winning the FA Cup, I don't think there would have been any United fan who would have said a peep. So this like vociferous anger towards Ineos is based off 1 week, which I think is a big exaggeration, right? But it's the fact that United news exists 24/7. I know that. You know that. It's why United People's TV exists. So I can't begrudge it. But it's like the incessance for immediate updates now. And if it's not now, it's a problem. Has been part of this whole situation. But right, I'm going to go down and read a few of your comments and just a few of your opinions on this before I give you just my honest opinion on what I think is going to be happening. All right, I'm going to see what you're saying down here. Joe's saying, why do they have to make a decision? Well, I think that kind of answers itself, Joe. We need to know either way whether Erik Ten Hag is our manager next season. Erik Ten Hag needs to know whether he's our manager next season, so do the players. A decision has to be made. You can't just sit in silence forever. That wouldn't help anybody. Mike, you're saying the indecisiveness is an issue. Everything today appears to be smooth and efficient, but this is taking too long. And you know one thing I want to say here, which I think absolutely should and has to be said. What you said there, Mike, about so far, Ineos have been pretty clinical, haven't they? No one knew about Omar Barada. They made their decision up on Dan Ashworth quite quickly, although it's dragged on. I don't think that's particularly Ineos' fault, but more towards Newcastle and the McDonald children. Jason Wilcox, they made their mind up on, but we had to go through a similar process, but we got through that. And everything else that's happened behind the scenes with people leaving. I think Ineos have been pretty decisive. You know, one thing that I would say here about Erik Ten Hag and our manager. For so long, years, too long to even remember, so many United fans have wanted our club to stop the leaks, right? We get angry when teams get leaked out. We get angry when news comes out. We get angry when any decision that was about to be made gets leaked somewhere else. And what you've witnessed here is nothing apart from Jacob Steinberg from the Chelsea side saying before the FA Cup final that Erik Ten Hag is going to be sacked. And as it stands now, he was wrong about the fact that he was going to get sacked straight after the FA Cup. we've seen journalists scrapping for news over Erik Ten Hag's future. And as a consequence, we've seen lots of fans scrapping for news. And it's that feeling of which drives the indecisiveness. I think Ineos are, as I said, I think they're a week late. If the review had already started with Erik Ten Hag before the end of the season, and I always felt that they'd made their mind up on Erik Ten Hag, I was like, okay, right, we'll give him another week because he won the FA Cup if they want to take that into account. I think it's a bit excessive the way that people are acting on the delays towards this decision. But it feels to me like a decision is expected today. And that's not me coming from any sort of in the know. It's just me interpreting what I'm reading, where I'm reading it, and how long it's been. And putting those together, I would expect a decision to come today. I'm going to read a few more of your comments there, and I want to quickly give you my opinion as well. Connor, I can see you down there gifting 5 memberships, dude. Thank you very much. Thank you to everybody. Everybody make sure you join Discord. And also...
I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Football, bloody hell.
Make sure you join the Euros League. The Euros League, I'm going to throw prizes into that as well. We're going to be getting the members-only Euro sweepstake. Joe, I saw your message before we went live. I'm going to get that organised too. Right, there's a couple of super chats. Let me read these. As one, actually. Steve, you're saying it's too late to change now with the Euros and such an important summer window. If there was a bigger plan, they would have acted earlier. My honest opinion is I think Erik Ten Hag is going to be sacked today. That's just my honest opinion. I've already done my video on whether I think that's a good thing. Right? I've ran through all the options. I spoke about Poch, De Zerbi, McKenna at that time. Actually, no, I think he'd already joined Chelsea, but I spoke about him briefly at the end. I spoke about all of them. And I said the only managers I thought that you could have any sort of legitimate argument about would be Thomas Tuchel and Kieran McKenna. And, of course, Kieran McKenna would have come with his own inherent risks. I personally, and again, this is a personal opinion. This isn't me saying it's going to happen. I've never been in the know. I will never claim to be in the know. I think anybody who works in that sort of leaking information and trying to be first to news, it's part of the problem. And that incessant rat race that you get towards being first. Because I ran the People's Person for long enough, which was the editorial website. I did that for years. And the amount of times I turned into a zombie. The amount of time I was just constantly reporting on news because you had to be first to it. But it's just what I think will happen. I don't think it will be the right thing, if I'm honest. I think all the options that we've got on the table, I don't think any of them look better than Erik Ten Hag getting one more season. My own opinion. And again, this is an opinion. And I might be completely wrong. Maybe there won't be an announcement today. And then I've become that person. This is not down to, it's just an opinion, right? I'm going to go down here and read some of your comments out because there's plenty of them. David is saying, if they want Erik Ten Hag, why are they dragging it out and creating issues? Well, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes, David. And nobody does. And that's a really good thing, right? And that's one thing Ineos have done pretty well this whole time, is stopping leaks. Now, you might say that the whole Erik Ten Hag getting sacked before, but that's because we were going after Kieran McKenna. And obviously, we were speaking to Kieran McKenna, and something must have been said, that side of things. And then because it's in the situation where, as I said, when there's a new manager involved or anything like that, and a player, and there's two sides to it, and there's something to gain, that's where you get leaks. But Ineos have kind of kept things shut so far. One sec, I've got a cough. Bam. Right, let's read some comments out down here. Who do you think will replace him, says Kev? I don't want to have a conversation about that until I need to have a conversation about that. And that's why I've done that one video. You can go and watch that video if you want, where I spoke about all the other candidates, but I don't really want to have a conversation about that now. Biker Boy is saying, do you want him to stay? And as I said in that video, I think of all the options on the table for United, I believe that Ten Hag getting one more season would be the road that I would go down. Would I expect it to be guaranteed success? Nope. Would I have reservations? Yep. And let's be totally honest here, right? And even though we did the poll here, right, on United People's TV, I think we got down to around about 90%. Around about 90% wanted Erik Ten Hag to stay. There can't be any United fans in here that wouldn't understand if Ineos decided to go their own path. You couldn't maybe not understand, but there's justification for their thinking if they do think that. Like, we just finished eighth in the league, right? We just had the worst football that we've seen in a long time, right? So it's not as if if Ineos were to make that decision, they wouldn't be making it on the fact that Erik Ten Hag is not a bad manager. They would be making it on the fact that he doesn't fit the game model, which we know about. Well, actually, no, we don't know about what this game model is, but we know that that is what is going to be driving their thought process. I'd be worried if they decided that Erik Ten Hag isn't the man for their game model and Poch is. I'd be worried about that. But I think it would be foolish to try and suggest that Ineos would have absolutely no grounds whatsoever to sack Erik Ten Hag. And I'm somebody who wants Erik Ten Hag to be in next season for one more season. Yeah, well, maybe we won't get a decision today. Maybe some of you are right in the comments. I mean, I don't know when it's going to... I mean, a decision has to be made before the... It doesn't have to be made before the Euros, but geez, like... The club needs to... Well, I suppose the club would know, but Erik Ten Hag needs to know. We need to know what's happening with the transfer window. There's plenty to speak about in terms of the transfer window. Speak about Jean-Claire Todibo, Kefren Turam, and a couple of others as well. Let me go and read some more comments out down here, right? And by the way, can I just say, this... Where is it? Is it that one? Yeah, man. No, I'll keep that for later. Let's pull this photo up here. I like that photo, Ten Hag. Steve saying lining McKenna up for the future. Well, let's see what happens with McKenna at Ipswich. I think it's going to be really interesting to watch him, and I really hope that McKenna doesn't follow the same path that Victor Company did at Burnley. Although he's just got the Bayern Munich job, so it's not exactly a bad path. But I hope it works better. I think it will. I don't think it's the same sort of setup. The fact that I think 6, 7 of those players who came from League One are still in that Ipswich team, which may work against them, but he's got a core there. And you're saying this, you're saying it would still be reactionary, I feel. Give the man the right tools and then judge. Reactionary to a degree, but I think I maintained this the whole time through the season. I said, ultimately, the person who is going to sack Erik Ten Hag or make sure he's got the job next season was Erik Ten Hag. And I firmly believe that had Erik Ten Hag switched, he switched the system against Arsenal. That's where he played Amrabat. That's where we were far more secure, but ultimately we didn't have the quality to beat Arsenal. And then after that, we played Newcastle, we beat them. We played Brighton, we beat them, and then we won the FA Cup final. I firmly believe that had Erik Ten Hag not remained so stubborn on that system, and I think this was a little bit of stubbornness, if I'm being totally honest. Had he switched his system earlier, maybe even just like 6 weeks or so, I think the conversation may have been slightly different going into the FA Cup. I don't think he helped himself, right, by repeating the same problem. And I really don't think he helped himself when you look at the fact that Jason Wilcox is watching all of this happen and unfold in front of him. And he didn't help himself in the fact that he did change the system and just Manchester United was simply better. And yeah, DP, I know that mate, I'm not going to pretend that there are not a ton of mitigating circumstances, hence why I would like to see Erik Ten Hag stay in next season. We had a ton of injuries this season. We had a ton of problems. The club was going through a takeover still. We're still going through, we don't have a CEO in, we don't have a sporting director in. There's so many problems. And he's won 2 trophies in 2 years. And ultimately, that is what football fans at their core judge success on at Manchester United. The same can't be said for every club because trophies are not going to be the aim every season of quite a lot of football clubs. But it is for Manchester United. I think that will go down as if this is the end of Erik Ten Hag. That's always going to remain my favourite photo, me personally anyway. Right, there's a couple of super chats and let me read some of these out because I'm just interested to hear everyone's opinions, man. Danush, you're saying you think Ten Hag's gone. The delay may just be the deal done by Ineos with a new manager. I mean, possibly. I can't imagine that Ineos would have waited 2 weeks after the FA Cup final, and if they decide to replace Erik Ten Hag, to not have someone lined up. I'd be surprised if they did that. Like, for example, if an announcement was made today on Erik Ten Hag and then we didn't know who our actual manager was until the end of June. It's possible, but it would seem unlikely. Connor, you're saying the outrage will be huge if he gets sacked. Even if you disagree, and you're saying you would sack him, you can't deny that there is a rational case for Ineos. That's the point I was trying to make here, Connor. Like, I'm somebody who is a fan of Erik Ten Hag. I can see the flaws, man. Man, this dude's got flaws. And I'm telling you, if an announcement comes today that Erik Ten Hag is staying, he's been given the opportunity, then I'm already preparing my video for like the evolution of Erik Ten Hag, right? Because if next season is going to be a success, man, there's a lot that's got to change from this season. And there's going to be a lot that's got to change from the first season. But if you pick out the best bits of the first season and you pick out the best bits of the second season, you put them together and you add some new things on top of that and you make a V3 of Erik Ten Hag, then maybe that could work. I personally, I think he'll be sacked. I might be wrong. I totally might be wrong. I was wrong on Wan-Bissaka. Was I? Maybe for a point. I've been wrong on plenty of things. It's just my opinion now. Just my interpretation of how I see the news and how I see it going. And I don't think it will be the right call. But I also, at the same time, would not try and suggest that there is no possible rational justification if Ineos do want to move him on. Because there is. I mean, you might not agree with it, but there is. Somebody ban Poz in the comments. He's mentioned Jason Wilson. Jason Wilson? Who's Jason Wilson? James Wilson. I rightly should never live that down. And the fact that I keep bringing it up is, yeah, there you go. You keep saying the wrong thing, Sam, we get the other way. Well, there you go, John. Well, you're welcome. We were all wrong on Maguire. I wasn't wrong in my criticism of Maguire when I gave it to him. And honestly, some people might disagree, but I really don't think I got personal with Maguire. I just focused on him as a professional Manchester United football player and the captain of our club. What he's done this season, I will speak about Maguire a little bit because we'll speak about the England squad announcement. He clearly was playing through injury, and at a time when his manager needed him the most, he was one of those players who stepped up. And McTominay, 2 players who were considered fringe players, were 2 of his most clutch players at quite a lot last season. A couple of super chats here, and then I'll read some more of your comments. As I said, it's a really interesting chat that I want to have with you as a community because I'm interested to know what everybody feels. Harry, you're saying we're being a bit unfair on Erik Ten Hag not switching. Amrabat was injured, returned when we didn't have a left back and played there, got injured again and then returned in midfield, arrived injured. Harry, he could have and should have switched to Amrabat playing as part of a 2-man midfield a little bit earlier. For sure he could have. I think Andy Mitten released an article saying that Amrabat basically went to him and said, look, can I please play and play in my position? And that was before the Arsenal game, and that's when we switched to playing 2 central midfielders. It's just Erik Ten Hag was convinced that, and maybe that's just a little bit of naivety on Erik Ten Hag's part. In the Eredivisie, you might have got away with playing 1 number 6 and 2 really aggressive number 8s. But if you do that in the Premier League, you're going to get pumped by Wolves and Brighton, let alone City and Liverpool and everything else that's going to exist above you. Well, quite a lot's above us now, but you get the point. I think he was a little bit overconfident in the proactive approach that he wanted to bring. I think that's what happened. I think the ambition was correct from Erik Ten Hag, but when he should have realised much earlier that he was being over ambitious and reined it in a little bit. That's what I think. Alex was saying, if they sack Erik Ten Hag, who else can do better in the environment other than Tuchel, who will combust in 2 years? They need to build a game model with Erik Ten Hag, then reassess. Well, we just need we need to build a game model. No matter what happens with Erik Ten Hag or with a manager that comes up next, we have to build a game model. And honestly, I still love because I built the game model in my head when we got Erik Ten Hag. I was like, imagine this hybrid blend of the best parts of Ajax and the best parts of Manchester United. And if you piece those two together, you made this glorious idea of this team who both clubs really focused on youth development. Massive, that's at the core of it. So that's synergy, that goes across. That's a perfect hybrid. And then with Ajax then playing out from the back and the type of fluid Cruyffian football that they do, you think, well, that's brilliant. And if you combine that with Manchester United's electric transitional football, because we do at our absolute best in the Premier League, and I kind of understand why Erik Ten Hag went down that route, but it was a bit wrong. It was foolish. Probably one of my favourite ever goals away at Arsenal. Blue kit. I think it was Rooney on the edge of the box, back heeling it towards, I think it was to Park. Or was it the other way around? I can't remember. And then Ronaldo sprinting down the pitch, Rooney with him, and it was like 4 passes from front to back. Oh man, the transition was unreal. Was that in the FA? Was that in the Champions League semi? I think it might have been the second half of the Champions League semi. Some of our best stuff was transitional football. So if you blended that sort of the best parts of Ajax and the best parts of Manchester United, I thought that's the game model. And that's still the game model that I want at Manchester United. That idea of what worked best at Ajax and what worked best at United. Boop, making a baby. Bing. Ten Hag being the father. That's what I thought was going to happen. But that has not happened. And that's what we all expected. Right? That's what we all expected. And it's just not happened yet. Right? I'm going to go down and read some more comments. What are you saying down here? Right. No more super chats. Can I just say, anybody, can you please do drop a like on the video? And if you can, make sure you subscribe. There's going to be quite a few of you joining in here who aren't part of the United People's TV community. Trust me, you should be. It's great. It's only going to get bigger and better. I've got so much planned for the summer. And yeah, I'd love to have you on board. Leela, the game plan at Ajax can only work if there is alignment through the club, of course. That's synergy from top to bottom. That's getting the under 12s to the under 17s to the first team, all playing the exact same way. Signing players that are all built towards that system. And we haven't done that. We haven't had any sort of... When it comes to our transfers, man, we've had no game model, man. You're looking at Anthony and then Casemiro. Martinez does fit it. Onana does fit it. There are certain players that do fit what that concept is in your head, but then there's certain players you go, not really. That doesn't really fit. That's what I think. Alex, I've seen that, man. Anything on the rumours that Jean-Claude Blanc is arguing for keeping Erik Ten Hag? I think it was Ben Jacobs, man. I spoke to Ben before. We'll leave it at that. I really enjoyed the chats that me and Ben had over the takeover. He clearly had strong sources in Qatar, and it was interesting to really get a fair amount of information and just conversations with him. But this idea that Man United's boardroom is split up like it's like a school debate. You've got one side, right? Okay, green team, you're voting for Erik Ten Hag, all right? So you've got 20 minutes to write it all the ideas down as to why Erik Ten Hag should be staying. And red team over there, right, so Jean-Claude Blanc, you sit over there. Right, Dave Bro, right, you sit over there. And you say all the reasons Erik Ten Hag should be sacked. And then we'll have a little debate in 20 minutes. It's just a really funny idea. I did a video on that. But I'm not the board of Manchester United. Just there may be some indecisions in the board. Well, it's not even the board, is it? Was it the football board? I don't know what to describe it as. The leadership team at Manchester United? There must have been some sort of indecisions because we're 13 days down the line. And there are indecisions in the fan base because there are justifications either way. So Richard saying our transfer model lacks cohesion. I'll speak about transfers next because it's the 7th of June. I haven't even been able to use bloody whiteboards yet. Spent ages doing these whiteboards. But there's no real point in speaking about transfers with any sort of energy until we know who our manager is next season. And that's the truth. Hence why you've not really seen much in terms of transfer news. And we won't until we get a decision. Now, as I said, I expect that decision to happen today. Could I be wrong? Absolutely could be wrong. And that's just my spidey senses more than any sort of in-the-know knowledge. All right? Shanks, I see you down there. Shanks and Bigfoot. Sweet like chocolate boy. Banging tune. Gifting 5 memberships. Thank you, dude.
I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Football, bloody hell.
You know what I realised randomly with music the other day? So we've reached the point now where we're in the 2020s. So we've reached the point now where sampling tunes from the 90s is the equivalent to when songs came out in the 90s, sampling stuff from the 60s. And that made me feel old as fuck. Because I'm hearing some, I think I said it to you, there was a Gangster's Paradise sample from Coolio. I was like, man, I like drum and bass, but that's such a bad sample. That's such a bad use of a sample. But yeah, we're old now. If you're seeing and you're hearing songs that are coming out in the charts, you're like, yeah, I remember that from the 90s. Yeah, we're all old. Let's just get grey and old together. Jammy Jam Jars. Great name. Why do you think an announcement will come today? Just curious. It's just, as I said, just my instinct more than anything. It's the fact that we're 13 days down the line, just some news I'm seeing from certain areas and certain people, just the whispers. I think it will happen today. That's all. And you're saying it's like getting the builders in before the architect. Well, I don't think Erik Ten Hag's the architect. I suppose Erik Ten Hag is the builder. Will he be manager next season? Yeah, Alex, I've cancelled my plans today. I had a physio appointment. I've got it rescheduled. I was going to go to the gym, but I've done it this morning. Come on, people. So I will be here all day because I think an announcement's going to come, right? Vicky, I will never forgive United. Well, not forgive United. Making that announcement on Christmas bloody Eve. The Ineos takeover announcement. I was like, you got to be kidding me. It's like, give me Christmas off. I can't remember what time that was, but that was annoying. Well, that was happy. It was annoying. Remember that one. Let's see. All right. Let's move on. There's plenty of other sort of talking points. I think that's kind of, I've really enjoyed that. And I like to think that's what really makes United People's TV stand out. I genuinely do take all of your comments and your questions and your interactions on board. I like to think it's the most engaged United community out there. And I might not agree with what you say, and you might not agree with what I say sometimes, but hey, football's about opinions, and sometimes they're not exactly the same. Right, let's go on to the big announcement that happened yesterday, and that was the England squad for the Euros. And there's only one Manchester United player in it. Any statos in the comments? When was the last time that happened? One United player in an England squad for an international competition. I don't know. Right, this is the full squad. Dean Henderson sneaking in there. Jordan Pickford, Aaron Ramsdale. I mean, that defence there is... Have we got two... Oh, yeah, my bad. I forgot about Luke Shaw. Anyway, Luke Shaw's in there too. Kobe Mainu. How many forwards can you get in a squad? You can get 10 in, apparently. But the big and the main news, come on. Given that Kobe Mainu's season started in November, right? And he's now won the FA Cup, got his first England call-up, made his England debut, won FA Cup Player of the Season. Big up. What a breakthrough that is for Kobe Mainu. And I don't expect it to slow down at the Euros. Because I think it will be... I'm really excited. And again, I think I've spoken about this quite a few times. but like you got the midfield down here: Trent, Conor Gallagher, Kobbie Mainoo, Declan Rice, and Adam Wharton. Crystal Palace's recruitment from the Championship. Honestly, Dougie Freedman has surely made clubs look differently at the Championship. And a lot of fans, surely, because I'll hark back to when Louis van Gaal wanted to sign Sadio Mane from Southampton. And everyone's like, huh? As if United are going to sign a player from Southampton. Yeah, fat chance. And you all know what happened with Sadio Mane at Liverpool. Palace have got 4 players in that squad there. They've got Eze, they've got Wharton, they've got Gahey, and they've got Henderson. 3 of those from the Championship, and in the space of a few years, have now gone into the England squad. And Adam Wharton has only been there since January. I think it's such a credit to their recruitment, and it has to make United and other players look at Championship recruitment differently. The Championship is getting better every single season. And Adam Wharton there is a perfect example that you can sign a player if you spot it correctly, and he can come into the Premier League and nail it and go into the England squad all within the space of a few months. That's fantastic. I don't know. I think I need to speak to, I think it's Harrison, who does HGO MUFC, does the overlap stuff. I'd love to get him on the channel to speak about Championship players because he really has a lot more Championship knowledge than I do. Elise, of course. Anyway, Luke Shaw's in there, and congratulations to Kobbie Mainoo. I'm excited. I think it'll probably be either maybe Kobbie Mainoo or Adam Wharton playing in that midfield role because they're sort of a similar profile in terms of how confident and press resistant they are. Because you're probably looking at a midfield 3 of Rice, Bellingham plus 1. I think so anyway. And Bellingham obviously being the most advanced of the 3. Yeah, we are light in defence in the Euros, and I feel sorry for him, man. I do feel sorry for him. Harry Maguire. Harry Maguire, you can have all your reservations about Harry Maguire as a United player, all right? And some of you have lost your reservations after what happened this season, and some of you still have them. But Harry Maguire, for England, is a different beast. I used to love betting on Harry Maguire to score a header for England. Won that bet a couple of times. But he's not made the squad. His calf injury has ruled him out. And that defence now. So you've obviously got John Stonestein. I don't know how on earth Gareth Southgate has left out Jared Branthwaite from that squad. Because you're looking at what? He's taken Lewis Dunk. How are you taking Lewis Dunk? Lewis Dunk. Man. Anyway. I do feel sorry for Maguire. I think he would have been... If Harry Maguire... And I believe... Was it Euros last time where Harry Maguire went and he wasn't 100% fit before it? Or was that Luke Shaw? I think it was Harry Maguire. And he missed the first group game through injury and then came back in and was like, oh, great. There, boom, there he goes. But Harry Maguire's not even fit enough for that. If there was like an iota of a chance that Harry Maguire was going to be maybe fit for the second or third game, then he would be taken. So his injury must be pretty bad, man. So I feel sorry for him because I do think that he would have been starting for England. And just Maguire for England is just a very, very dependable and reliable player. I think England are weaker for the fact that he's not going. But yeah, the mate Lewis Dunk. That's a weird one. Other ones I don't really care about. Like Grealish should have been left at home. I think I've got the list here, actually. Where is it? That one there? Yeah. Grealish, no one's complaining about. James Maddison. You could have kept James Maddison, but in a midfield as stacked as that, is he really going to be playing? Probably not. And Maddison is better as the most advanced player, and that's just going to be Jude Bellingham's position the entire tournament. James Trafford, goalkeeper. Meh. Curtis Jones, Jarrell Quansah. Meh. Only one I would really have questions over is Jared Branthwaite. Jack Grealish, yeah. You could argue that Rashford should have been on the plane instead of Jack Grealish, and neither of them had a good season. That's the point. But he's gone for Eze, which is quite exciting. I mean, look how stacked that attack is. Bellingham, Bowen, Eze, Foden, Gordon, Kane, Palmer, Saka, Tony and Watkins. I'm like, what's the point of having Tony and Watkins? That's like 2 replacements for Harry Kane in a 1-striker system. Think if I was England manager, I would probably have taken one. I would probably have taken Tony out, and I certainly would have taken Jared Branthwaite. So maybe that's what I would have done. We'll see. England have got some ridiculous. We are very top heavy. Good midfield, incredible attack. Not sure about that defence. We'll see. Of course, the Euro starts a week today. In terms of the content here on United People's TV, I'm still going to do my live shows every day. I'm going to pick all the best talking points from the Euros. And also, I think there's going to be a lot of conversations around transfers. Typically, I would expect transfer news to kind of go quiet for Manchester United if there's international tournaments on. But whether it's Branthwaite, whether it's Elise, whether it's Todibo or Thuram, that's 4 players I've named that United are being heavily linked with, and none of them are going to the Euros. So I think there's an opportunity for United to actually conduct transfer activity when the Euros is going on, because we're looking slightly elsewhere. But yeah, and then the Olympics, of course, are on after. I love summer sport. Feels good, doesn't it? I would like the players to get a break, but I love the Olympics. I love international football tournaments. I don't really care about the build-ups and the warm-ups and the friendlies and all the qualification. But as soon as an actual international tournament comes around, I love that 2-week period where you get to watch 3 games a day. And no one says a peep. What are you doing watching football? What are you doing later? Watching football. What are you doing tomorrow? I'm still watching football. Stop asking me the same question. So I'm going to enjoy it. And it's sunshine. Come on. If that doesn't make you drop a like on the video, nothing will. But in terms of transfer news, right, let's have a quick conversation about what's out there. Aston Villa joined the race to sign Nice's Jean-Claude Todibo. I look at this in the exact same way that I looked at Lisandro Martinez to Manchester United. I don't care who else is linked with him. Literally, the owner of our football club owns Nice. If we want Todibo, we're going to get Todibo. And I'll tell you one thing that's happened here. I don't think this is a typo either. Let me just refresh this article just in case it isn't. It may have been a typo. It's not a typo. All right. Go down here. Aston Villa joined the race to sign Todibo. Look at the price. Nice are now open to a departure and won't demand such a fee. They were asking for 60 mil in January when Spurs came sniffing. 25 million euros may be enough to get a deal done now, according to L'Equipe. 25 mil euros. What did you say? Yes, please. I mean, I don't think it'll be that cheap. I think we were all talking about 40 million. And considering 40 million being a pretty fair price to play for a player who I think will improve at Manchester United and a player who I think already is a good player. But 25 mil euros, boy, go over there and get that done now. That's coming from L'Equipe, coming from France. I don't think he'll be that cheap. But I also don't think he'd be any more than 40 mil. And Todibo is, as I said, I would encourage you not to get worried about anything you are seeing, right, on Villa or... I mean, who else has been linked with them? There's loads of names. Villa, who else down there? Spurs. I think Napoli's name got thrown into it. Who else down here? There you go. Atletico Madrid, Napoli, United, Spurs, Villa. It doesn't matter. Absolutely none of it matters. If Manchester United want to sign Jean-Claude Todibo, Manchester United will sign Jean-Claude Todibo because of the links. The links because of our owner. If we want him, we get him. The question there from MD Entertainment saying, is Todibo good enough? I believe he is. I've probably watched more of Todibo than I have of any other target we've been linked with. And we wanted him last summer when Maguire was leaving. So this isn't just a random link to Manchester United simply because Jim Ratcliffe owns Nice. We were linked with Todibo last summer when Maguire looked like he was leaving, and it was Todibo, Tapsoba, who had a cracking season at Leverkusen, by the way. Also, Pavard, that was it. Let's have a look. And are you forgetting the player can choose who he wants to play for as well? Yeah. I don't know why he wouldn't want to play for Manchester United. Manchester United is still this summer, I suppose, is where the question marks still exist. We just finished 8th, right? In the Europa League, though. I imagine how players look at United next summer will be very, very different to how players look at Manchester United this summer. I think this summer could be the last, I hope, be the last one where players go, do I really trust that club to actually be heading in the right direction? That's what I want to see. Lots of you talking about Lenny Yoro in the comments. We've seen links, like, what is it, 60 million, I think, randomly was said in the papers. I ain't seen nothing reliable on that yet. I also think if he is going to leave, I still feel that Real Madrid will be the most likely location for him. And nothing's really gone too far. Branthwaite, we've had a lot more links on Branthwaite than we have of any centre-back, really. And Jonathan saying, no idea why you are ignoring finances of most clubs. Villa, Newcastle, Everton, Forest, Chelsea, among others, have to sell before the end of June. When have I ignored it? I think I've spoken about that previously. I mean, I definitely have spoken about that previously. That's why the Branthwaite situation is probably more advanced than most. United, I think, don't want to pay more than 50 mil for Branthwaite. And I think 50 mil is the absolute most that I would choose to pay for him. I already ran through my dream summer, and Branthwaite wasn't in it. Simply from a financial perspective. I don't think budget-wise that we'd be able to do it. If we get Todibo for 25 mil, we should sign another young defender with a high ceiling. Man United are signing 2 centre-backs this summer. Guaranteed. I've been saying that the whole time, and I'd be amazed if it didn't happen. Even if Maguire and Lindelof stay. I don't think they both will. I really do not see a position for Lindelof next season. I really do not see it. Any minutes for Lindelof should be going to Cambuala. For sure. And then if Cambuala comes up, you can even elevate Louis Jackson or someone else from the under-18s if you really wanted to be that probably 5th choice centre-back. Johnny Evans apparently talks of a new contract. Personally, I think Johnny Evans will move into a player-coach role. I think he'll be available if Manchester United have an injury crisis, but I think mainly he'll be playing with the under-21s as the over-21 player, like Tom Huddleston. He was him last season. I think that's what Johnny Evans' position will be, and he'd move into coaching. Obviously, his wife, Helen, still works at the club. I think he'd love to stay at the club. I don't think it'll be in as much of a playing capacity as this season. Again, just my spidey senses or just my interpretation. Might be wrong. Another player getting linked with us from Nice. And again, this isn't just a case of, let's just get linked with all the Nice players because, Jim Ratcliffe owns Nice. Kefren Turam was wanted by Liverpool. Kefren Turam has been linked with United for a long old time. And 20 minutes. And I think this for me is the question that I've got around Sofian Amrabat. Believe Amrabat is going to cost around about 20 million euros, which coincidentally is just the number being placed here. Now that might be a bit low, right? Sandman, you're saying the fees here I mentioned are so cheap. They are. They're ridiculous. Could Kefren Turam be a better option than Sofian Amrabat? I think there is a question to ask, right? But transfers really have not kicked into gear yet. I fully expect us to sign Jean-Claire Todibo. I'll be amazed if we don't. I might get it wrong, though. Let's be totally honest, all right? And there's some other little transfer talks, conversations we can have. I don't know why so many people are talking about Greenwood. What's happened with Greenwood? Have I missed it? Let's have a quick look. Let's see what news I can find on Greenwood. Was that it? Surely it's more than that. Is that it? Mate, I don't care where you go, mate. Go to Juve. Go to Barca. Go to Real Madrid. Go wherever you want. You're not coming back to Man United. Said yes to Juve. I would not be surprised if he moves to Italy. I would not be surprised if he stayed in Spain. Vamos. Good luck. I will not wish any ill will on Mason Greenwood's career. I hope he flourishes and enjoys himself. Elsewhere. Jonathan is saying it's on your people's website. My name is on that, but I do not have anything to do with that website anymore. I speak to the editor and I help sometimes, but I do not have any control over what goes on that website anymore. And I haven't done for probably a couple of years now. Thereabouts. Yeah, I know he's been named in the retained list, but of course he has. Or the Man United is going to let him go for free. No, you're looking at a player who's worth somewhere in the region of 30 to 40 million. Same with Jadon Sancho. Thereabouts. Goodbye. Vamos. You're not playing for United again. End the conversation. Well, that was nice and swift. This is Real Madrid. Not Real Madrid. This is Borussia Dortmund in a nutshell. This isn't it. Maatsen had a cracking loan spell there from Chelsea. He's got a £35 million release clause. That's pretty straightforward then, right? £35 million. That's not outrageous for a player in these days. Nah, never mind. We'll offer you 25 million euros. His release clause is it's not 25 million euros, lads. It's 35 million pounds. That is peak Dortmund. Absolutely peak Dortmund. And you know they're going to be doing that with Sancho as well. We spoke about this before. I think valuations in the comments are all somewhere in the region of 30 to 50 million on how much you think we should or could be getting for Jadon Sancho. They're going to come knocking with like a 5 million loan fee and cover his wages for the season with an obligation to buy him for 25 million pounds. Or, I don't know, I'm just making numbers up in my head. This is exactly what Dortmund are going to do with Sancho. And the amount of hot air they have blown up Sancho. Sancho's owed an apology. We never forgot your game. Oh, yeah. Mate, it's not even their priority. I'm not even sure it's their second priority. I think they're trying to sign Maatsen and Guirassy before they go for Sancho. They've just been massaging his ego. And I think it's a little bit of a disservice to him, if I'm being completely honest, because they are not going to be paying the money that United want for Jadon Sancho. And they've inflated his sense of self-importance. Man, they're not even going to follow through on it. Dortmund know how to do business. Well, sorry. Where's all their money gone? I think I said this before. Like whether it was Haaland, whether it's Bellingham, whether it was Sancho, whether it was, I don't know what other players they've done and they've sold. Like, where is all their money gone? They've done like mega sales every year and hardly spent that much. I'm going to have a quick look. What's been their outlay? Dortmund transfer history. I'm presuming that they make an annual profit. Might be wrong. Let's have a look. Borussia Dortmund transfers. I don't want your ads. Go away. Right. Okay. So, last season. This will be interesting. Let's go a little bit there. Last season, 66 mil spent, 113 mil made, 50 mil profit. That season before. Oh, look at that. They spent 20 million more. So they spent 20 million more than they made the season before. Year before that, they made a 65 mil profit. So that's 65, 45 plus that. So that's 110 mil-ish profit in the last 3 years. Well, not the season before that. Oh, they spent 50. Woo! Jeez! They spent 50 mil. Year before that. Thereabouts. Year before that. Made a profit. They are cheapskates. Cheapskates. Vicky, of course, Champions League final money as well. But no, they're going to come in with a loan offer for him. A little transfer looking like it's not going to happen to Man United. I don't really think the links ever really emerged, but I just had him down as I think I could understand if United went after Xerxes. Probably too much in terms of how much we're going to spend on a alternative to Haaland. I'm not going to call it a backup to Haaland because I think that's a little bit unfair. But we need an alternative striker to Haaland. Now, Xerxes would have been great. If we had the money and we could afford it, it definitely would have been great. But it looks like AC Milan are going to be getting him. And that would be a good signing for them. And then maybe next summer we'll get linked with him for 80 million. Sod knows. But Xerxes to AC, I think that's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool move. Let's find out. I thought Xerxes was going to Villa. Who said that? Villa apparently. Sniffing around. Jean-Claire Todibo. The squad depth option. There you go. That makes it better. Well, before I wrap it up today, ladies and gents, it's map day. Right? We didn't have the map last week because my last show was on Thursday. I can't believe this. Somebody should sack me. I missed the show last week. Right? I wasn't here for Friday because I was too busy gallivanting in Brighton. Unbelievable. What sort of service is this? And then this week, I wasn't here yesterday. I wasn't here yesterday because I went to a hospital appointment. Honestly. I don't know what this part-time life is about, but someone should really sack me. I didn't forget. My map song's been replaced by this.
Good morning, good morning. Hello.
Sorry. Anyway, Casemiro. Where are you watching from, ladies and gents? You all know the drill by now. Let me know what town and what country, and I'll get 3 of you on here. Someone said they want their money back. You didn't pay anything. Or maybe somebody did. Gungshi, you definitely did. Big up to you, man. Let me say thank you to everybody who's gifted memberships in this show. To everyone else. Shax, thank you, dude. Connor, Mania, and Gungshi. Thank you all. To everybody. I've missed the super chat, actually. Rex, you're saying, so pleased for Cobby. Happy that Grealish and Maddison didn't make the cut. Worried about the defence. Is Luke Shaw the only proper left back? He is, dude. I don't get that. I don't get that. I was drinking neck oil on Brighton Seafront. Man, neck oil. Bueno. I want to sack everything off now. It's sunny outside. I just want to go drink somewhere. It's your fault. It's your fault, John. John? Yeah, it was John. Right. Let's get down here. Yeah, no one from Russia. Apparently not. We've got... Oh, there's one there. Where'd they go? Paul watching from Ludwig... Oh, damn. Ludwigshaven. Ludwigshaven. Let me try and type that in. I was really determined to do a good German accent there. I completely ruined it. Ludwigshaven. I love Germany. Beer. Football. Sun. Sometimes. And I'm not putting that on the map. You should get sacked for that. We've got Jovan watching from... how am I supposed to pronounce this? Nilane? How the hell are you saying that? Well, you're from Serbia. Serbia on the map. Let's get one more here. Yeah, we do have someone from Greenland. I got that ages ago. We've got Erik watching from Vansa in Norway. Fancy. Fancy. On the map you go. Right. Before we finish today's show, I want to go back to this main point here. My expectation is that Erik Ten Hag will be sacked. That's what I think will happen. It's come from this this length of time. I just think he will. I could be completely wrong, right? Could be completely wrong, and it's just my sort of interpretation of the news. But I do expect there to be an announcement today. I'm not sure if I'll have a lunchtime video because I'm not sure there's going to be anything that's particularly relevant if or when this news comes out. So I haven't decided on that yet. Been a little bit slow on the content this week, but I'll be back to full swing, full speed, better than full swing, next week. Because I think the announcement on the manager is going to happen. And once that is done, everything sort of is laid out in front of us and we can speak about it all. Thank you to everybody for tuning in today. I appreciate it all. Drop a like on the video. Thanks for your comments. Thanks for making this show as good as it is. Scott saying back, then sack him, make up your mind. It's nice to see that you're listening to me, Scott. I would like Erik Ten Hag to be our manager next season. But I think he will be sacked. Does that answer your question? You need to listen. Take it easy, everybody. I'll speak to you all on Monday for the... actually, no, thank you very much, John. Remind you down there. Can I just encourage and remind you all, can you please watch this video, right? Let me pull the link up here. Because this is our latest little I call them mini documentaries, right? Little mini documentary that we released yesterday on... Oh, that was loud. Alejandro Garnacho, right? I wonder if I can play a little bit here. Actually, no, I won't. I don't think you'll get slapped down for copyright, but I think it might be. If you can, please go and watch that video, and please do drop a like on it, because these sorts of videos take so much longer for me to do, but I think it's the sort of high quality content that you all deserve more of. But we'll see. Thank you, everybody. I'll speak to you on Monday, live anyway, but maybe I'll be back here live later today as well. We'll see. Take it easy.